All right. Uh, Hi everyone. I'm Minwan Deshapriya. You are a lecturer for the Diploma in Full Stack Web Development course at Eton Campus. You'll just saw some of my recent projects in the intro video. Before begin, let me tell you a bit more about myself, my journey, and most importantly, why this course is perfect for you to if you want to become a full stack web developer. Well, I'm a self-learned, well-experienced IT professional with over 18 years of experience in the web industry. I started my web career in year 2006 as a freelancer. Then I got hired by an Australian company as a junior web developer. A few months later, I got promoted to a senior web developer position specializing in WordPress development. Later on, I became a team leader at a well-known UK-based company, and eventually a web and IT manager in the India. With that all experience, I decided to start my own company. Unlike many other freelancers and web developers in Sri Lanka, I was fortunate to get projects because of connections I had with I made over the years. But I realized something. Even fresh graduates in Sri Lanka were struggling to break into the industry because they lacked practical skills. They understood the theory but had trouble putting it into practice. So I reach out to some companies I know, and they all said the same thing. They needed people with practical skills. Uh, but they are lacking the practical skills. That's when I decided to step into and offer my expertise by providing consultations to them. And gradually, my sessions became a full stack web developer course, which you are about to follow in the coming months. Unlike other courses in the industry, this is purely designed to give you the practical skills you need to succeed in the industry. Over the past years, I have trained many students, and now all of them are either in a senior position in a top IT firm in Sri Lanka or either abroad and doing well. During the course, you will meet few of them, and they will share their experience and views with you as well. I believe most of you are familiar. Most of you are coming from a different background or career, or are new to web and IT industry. Therefore, before diving into the course content, let's discuss a bit more about the global and local industry to understand the demand. So, global and the local market. As all of you know, during the COVID-19 period, the demand for IT related jobs increased, and most companies went into a remote work culture while other industries were struggling to survive. With this huge demand, people started to change their careers in IT sector, and this is where things get interesting. Globally, including locally, in Sri Lanka, almost everyone knows higher salaries and revenues an IT professional makes, especially in the industry like web development. So as a result, all of you can see there are thousands of web development courses introduced by institutes and individuals to cater to this market. Taking this realistically now, there are more than enough people to cater to the web and IT industry. However, if you ask from any IT professional, they will tell you how many opportunities there are out in the market, but how hard it is nowadays for someone to get a proper job in the IT and IT or web development industry. This is why you need, let me tell you, not just skills but extraordinary skills, right? Not just skills but extraordinary skills. Right? So also I forgot to mention the wars happening around the world, development and in artificial intelligence, and economic crisis are affecting the IT industry as well during the last couple of years. So as I mentioned, not just skills, but extraordinary skills. I'm pretty sure all of you can learn web development simply by watching a YouTube video or by following any other course out there in the internet. Right? But this course is completely different from other web development courses in the industry. Right? I can guarantee you that. I'll tell you why. As I mentioned before, you need extraordinary skills to become a superstar in this industry. You need skills more than a typical web developer has. So the first step for this is to become a full stack developer. Right? So what is full stack developer? Right? And why it is important to become a one? Right? Why not focus on one stack? Just like I'll explain what are those. There are few stacks such as LAMP, mean, MEAN, or MERN, MERN stacks. Okay? I'm pretty sure you have many questions. So let's briefly sort it out by one by one within next couple of minutes, because it is very important to understand these things to determine that this is the right course for you before you get enrolled. So simply, full stack developer is a developer or engineer who can build both front end and the back end of the website. Right? So front end is what the customer or the client sees through a web browser. Front end is what the customer or the client sees through a web browser. And the back end is where all the logics and mechanism happens. Right? So in all days, there was a clear distinction between front end and back end developers. But as companies strive to continuously innovate, the full stack developer is in a great demand, and that trend will continue for many years ahead. I'm not going to explain it in detail today, as you'll learn more about it during the course. As I mentioned, there are other stacks, LAMP, mean, or MERN, right? Now we know what full stack developer, full stack means, right? But what are those other stacks? Right? LAMP, right? LAMP stack. A LAMP stack is a bundle of 4 different software technologies. Simply, those are just software technologies that developers use to build websites and web applications. Right? LAMP is an acronym for operating system, which is Linux, the web server, which is Apache, the database server, which is MySQL, and the programming language, we learn the PHP. Right? Similarly, there are other stacks as well, such as mean. So mean and MERN are there. Mean means MongoDB, Express, AngularJS, Node.js. MERN, MongoDB, Express, React.js, Node.js. Right? Apart from the LAMP stack, which I explained previously, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. Above mentioned stacks are based on the mean and MERN stacks are based on JavaScript frameworks such as Angular and React. Right? But I'm suggesting all of you to learn the LAMP stack before learning other stacks, because you want to become simply an ordinary web developer. Right? All right. So learning the LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP with WordPress, which is a content management system. I'll explain what is WordPress, and Laravel, which is also a framework. The WordPress is a content management system, and the Laravel is a framework. Will give you superpower. I know this from my experience, because this was that extraordinary, because I was the extraordinary person when I worked at those previously mentioned companies. Let me tell you one more thing. Because you will get to know the basics, you will be able to easily switch stacks or adapt to any framework or library, unlike others. Right? Because most of other courses are only focused on one stack. Uh, since you are learning LAMP stack, uh, you will be able to easily switch stacks or adapt to any other framework which are coming in the future for any libraries, unlike others. I'll tell you why WordPress and Laravel in next slide when I explain the course content. All right. These are the modules we're going to cover. And we have divided the course into 6 modules, right? The first module, which is HTML, CSS, and Tailwind. I'll explain what are those, and static web hosting, right? The module 2 is we are focusing on reactive web applications, such as using JavaScript and other libraries. In the module 3 and 4, we'll talk about PHP MySQL. Right? In the module 5, we'll talk about WordPress basic as well as advanced WordPress and shared hosting. I'll explain what are those in my next slide. With module 6, we'll cover Laravel and VPS, virtual private server hosting. Okay? So as I mentioned, in the first module, which is HTML, CSS, Tailwind, and static web hosting, we'll start with the ground up, learn the language of the web, which is HTML, understand how to make things look great with CSS, cascading style sheets. We will also spice it up with Tailwind CSS, which is a tool to make styling. And you'll be learning to deploy a static website like a professional. Okay? So these are the topics we will cover with our first module. We'll cover the introduction to web, which covers domain, hosting, DNS, and all those relationships in between. And then you will able to firstly make your first web page. Then you will getting to know HTML, what is HTML, and we'll cover basics of HTML. Then getting into CSS, a bit more about the box model and positioning content, work with typography, setting backgrounds and gradients, creating lists, media, building forms, organizing data with tables, writing your best codes or optimizing it. And we'll move to the advanced section of the module 1, which is focused on performance and organization of a code, and detailed positioning, complex selectors with CSS, responsive web development, transforms, transitions, and web-based animation. Right? In the second module, we'll dive into JavaScript, the language of language which add interactivity to web pages. After that, we'll also explore Alpine.js, new framework that let you create reactive web applications without breaking the stack. Right? And it will speed up your development process and make your ideas real very fast. Right? So we'll cover JavaScript, values and variables, statements, functions, arrays and objects, selectors, DOM manipulations, events, and we'll move to Alpine.js, which is a new framework, as I mentioned. You will learn about directives, magics, plugins. You can work with Alpine.js and other advanced stuff. Okay? Also, we'll cover a few more JavaScript libraries and basics of JavaScript. Right? So during the third and the fourth module, we'll dive into the server-side magic. Right? We'll say hello to PHP, a powerful language that makes your website dynamic, which is a backend language. We'll cover the basics to advanced stuff, from variables to control structures and everything in that. By the end of that module, you will be writing code that does some serious behind the scenes work. When we learn MySQL, which is the database we use with PHP, we'll explore how database works, and you'll able to manage data like a champion. Also, we'll take PHP to the next level with advanced concept, turning your ideas into the master, as I mentioned. But we'll cover with PHP and MySQL. We'll cover syntax and variables, control structures, functions and arrays, object-oriented programming. We call it as OOP programming. Then we'll talk about the forms and processing, file handling, and everything. Then we'll get into the database side of it. Introduction to database, basics of MySQL, CRUD operations, database design principles. Right, that's module 3 and 4. In module 5, we'll cover WordPress. We'll cover WordPress websites, customize it with themes and plugins, and some advanced tricks as well. By the end of this module, you will have the power to create website from ground up. Right? I think you may ask why WordPress if you know what is WordPress basically. Well, around 810 million websites use WordPress as of 2024. This represents more than 43% of all websites. So there's a huge demand as most web developers, most web developers only knows basic of WordPress, which is to install a theme and customize it with a given tool or a plugin. Right? But that is not WordPress. WordPress is more than that. Right? Therefore, we'll cover these topics. So we'll first introduce you to WordPress. Then we'll cover setting up a WordPress, themes and plugins, and content management with WordPress. Then we'll cover customizing themes and plugins with the pre-developed theme and plugin, but not only using a plugin called Elementor. Right? With Elementor is a drag and drop tool, but we are not stopping from there. We'll start to code and build a theme from ground up, right? Which you will be able to resell later on platforms such as Envato Market. Envato Market's theme for us like platforms. So after that, we'll dive into the plugin development. Again, you will build a plugin from scratch, and not just install a plugin and customize it. You will build a plugin from scratch. Then we'll cover WordPress security and SEO side, and later on we'll buy a shared hosting server, and we'll set up our solution in there as well. Right? So that's WordPress. Then in the final module, which is focused on Laravel, we'll introduce to Laravel a PHP framework, as I mentioned before, and you learn the MVC architecture, routing and views, and blade templates. After that, you learn about VPS hosting, virtual private server hosting. Right? So we'll cover introduction to Laravel, MVC architecture, routing and controllers, Eloquent ORM, views and blade templates, setting up VPS for Laravel, and deployment and scaling a server, and server security and maintenance. Okay. Apart from these topics covered, we will teach you career progression, interview techniques, CV preparation, and motivation and personality development as well. During the course, I'll reveal many industry secrets, tips and tricks, best practices, and ways you can use AI tools, artificial intelligence, to do tasks easily. Moreover, I'll provide you the chance to network with industry leaders, potential clients, and companies that are looking to hire you. Also, we'll help you to get internships and opportunities exclusive for dedicated students. Right? I'll explain this in the next slide. So, evaluation methods. Right? Evaluation methods. This is how we evaluate you. There are two types of evaluation methods in place for this course to measure students' performance. The first one is module-wise MCQs, multiple choice questions. At the end of each module, students will get the MCQ assessment, and this will ensure the learning progress of each student. There's a final practical project towards the end of the course. You will have a final project where you will tasked to create a portfolio website that includes all the mini projects and tasks you've done during the course previously, right? And the details of this project will be explained to you during the course. After completing your website, you will have to have the opportunity to showcase this to the class and way for you to apply all the things you learned and share your work with everyone, including a company you will be joining next. Okay? So internships, this is things get interesting. Right? This can be divided into two types. Right? As I explained previously, there are quizzes at the end of each module. We conduct simple quizzes, right? We get the average of all quizzes and the marks from the final practical project to divide this into two categories, right? Right. If the marks are above 85% and attendance is maintained above 90%, we will send your CVs to companies and we will personally recommend you for a job. Therefore, you will have a higher chance of getting a paid internship job compared to following any other course after an interview with the company. If your marks are above 85% and attendance is below 90%, no problem. We will direct you to some opportunities out there. And but you'll have to send your CVs and face an interview. We won't interfere with the process, but we'll introduce you, we'll direct you to some opportunities out there, right? So apart from that, every student will get 200 USD worth of credits to host your website with a globally recognized popular web hosting service provider. Simply of that, unlike other web development courses out there, you will be able to experience on how to push a website to a web server, right? Because most courses are teaching you through a local server, which is we call as SAM or lab service. But apart from that, we'll teach you how to push your website to a web server and how to set up the web server like that. Because we notice it's something lacking in most web development courses. This is also the reason why students struggle when they get a task of pushing a website to a live server in their job scope at their workplaces. So that concludes my presentation and explanation about the course. And one more thing, the course will start from next Saturday onwards from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. right? 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. next Saturday, both physically and virtually via Zoom. You can join the course. And on Saturdays, we conduct the class, as I mentioned, from 12 p.m. You'll get a 1 hour break, 1 hour break, 1 hour lunch break at 2 p.m. Till 3 p.m. And the class will conclude at 6 p.m. Right? So that's all in my presentation. As I mentioned, don't forget, you will need not just skills, but extraordinary skills, right? So who's ready to make this life-changing decision? Okay? It's up to you. So if you have any questions, you can ask. In English or Sinhala language. That's not a problem. I'll conduct the course in English language, but if needed, I can speak in Sinhala as well. I'll explain some in Sinhala as well. So if you have any questions regarding to this course, you can ask that now. Thank you.